I got banned on Shopify for trying to sell peptides, so I vibe-coded a better version of Shopify, and now I'm running a peptide e-commerce brand from Lovable. I'm going to show you exactly how I used Lovable to vibe-code a site that mixes Shopify and ClickFunnels together and creates a really powerful sales enablement software for e-commerce. If you're using vibe coding for a products-based business, you're not going to want to miss this video. We're going to screen record and I'm going to show you around. Let's jump in. Welcome back, guys. My name's rakidzich. I've been a business coach for about 7 years, business owner for 2 decades. I used to coach newspapers on staying in business. Back in my day, Netflix came in the mail. So I've been in the game a long time. Vibe coding is something we all know about by now. If you don't know what vibe coding is, it's prompting a software that can write code for you. Now, there are sites like Lovable, which I'm using. There's sites like Replit and Cursor. You can use OpenAI Codex, Claude Code. You can even run it locally if you want to, which is what me and my business partner for the B&B Photo Factory are doing. We've got a local model that does all of our code. Sky's the limit with vibe coding. My first pro tip for you for vibe coding is it's still important to know what code can do and should do and what best practices are. If you fly blind, you can get hurt. So I might recommend at the end of this video a few resources for you to understand code better. You don't have to know how to code, you just need to know what code is. But with that said, let's jump into Lovable and I'll show you what I built. So this is Lovable. If you've never been on Lovable, there's going to be an AI on the left and there's going to be the website builder on the right. This is my peptide hub name website. I actually give this away as a template for students in my peptide e-commerce coaching. I think it's a really cool value add to give away a fully built website that's got all the stuff I'm about to show you. And it helps me get sales as a coach in the peptide space. So how's that? Let's just skip right over into the non-Lovable version of it. We might come back to Lovable to show you kind of like how prompts and stuff work. I'm going to assume that a lot of you guys know enough about vibe coding that that's not why you're here. So this is the first thing I want to show you. This is the blog creator page. I'm using an API called Firecrawl, and I'm using OpenAI to be able to steal a article from a URL. Essentially, you post a URL in there, you put some keywords that you want to use, and it will generate a workflow where it's going to create a blog. Now, beyond the tactics, here's the strategy. When you sell a product online, you need to have some trust, you need to have some authority. If you want to read a book on this, there's a book called Trust Me, I'm Lying. It's a lot about how some of the best politicians and best companies will generate this belief system through fake media and stuff like that. It's crazy. So most people don't just respond to a Facebook ad or a Meta ad. They don't just buy stuff right away. So we have to be cognizant of that. So what I've done is I've vibe coded a blog stealing or content repurposing engine that allows us to take a topic that's already been researched or that's already performed well as a blog and build our own workflow here that allows us to own the blog, and then we can use it. I'm going to show you where we use it here in a second, but let me kind of walk through the workflow with you. What we do is we then create this copy that's vibe coded. We then can generate AI images and control the framing for those images and all that stuff. Really cool. We then can control backlinks. So we can build backlinks into the blog. Anytime that this phrase pops up, there's going to be a backlink to my peptide lab, for example. And then at the end of it, there's going to be the blog preview. And we can post this somewhere. Now let me show you where we would post this. Now here's a Trust Me, I'm Lying hack, okay? You're going to really love this, guys. You sales guys are going to love this if you're online marketers. So I made a page called Recovery Science Digest, all right? Recovery Science Digest is just some proxy Facebook page that looks like it cares about recovery science, right? What I did is I posted the blog here and I made a image for it, okay? Then when we go and hit share for this bad boy, we share it to my page. Check this out. Something, smart stuff, whatever, share now. We go to my Facebook page. You can actually see what it looks like now. That's what it looks like. It looks like this legitimate share. And now anybody who wants to read whatever I just talked about, they can go find it here on Recovery Science Digest. It takes them to this article. There's a backlink here that takes them to go shopping for my peptides, right? So this is a blog funnel. It is the first thing that I make my students learn, because when you create these blogs, you're not selling anything. You're positioning, you're setting your chess pieces up, and you're creating an authority engine, kind of. Now, where you use these blogs can be anywhere. You can post them on Reddit, you can post them on Facebook, you can send them in an email list, whatever. But because these blogs aren't trying to sell, anything that scrapes this blog doesn't see that it's trying to sell, so no one's in trouble yet. Now, we've built our sites to force people to log in. That's a big thing about peptides is you can only sell peptides for research purposes. And so our site is for research purposes only, and you have to create a login and claim that you're a lab to buy some peptides from Olympus Peptide Labs, by the way. And again, the way that we did this is we've prompted Lovable to say, I want to build a blog engine. I wanted to do these features. And the features was I wanted to scrape a URL to be able to create the content. Then I said, I want to be able to add images. I want you to choose where the images should go. I would like somebody to be able to upload an image, pull an image out of a database that's already been saved, or AI generate an image. I'd also like to control the dynamic cropping of that image to make sure that it looks good on a blog site, etc. Now, for your vibe coders, you're going to start to understand something. I'm telling it what I need because I've experienced a lack in the feature that I'm telling it about, right? So if you don't know what you need, you might not tell an AI, oh, I need to control the cropping of these photos between mobile and landscape. That is something that you have to be aware of. AI is not going to code it for you unless you tell it to. And this is an example of why an online marketer or a website builder will do better as a vibe coder against you if it's your first day as a vibe coder. And I say this to humble you. One of the most important things that we do in the age of AI is that we humble ourselves and we stay self-aware. I've got a lot of students who learn something in the Airbnb space from me, and 2 weeks later, they try to build a business around it. They try to start creating content around it, and they think that AI is going to give them an edge against me. But as you see, I use AI also. And so a master in a field using AI will always have miles of distance in front of a new person using AI. You need to be aware of that. Don't assume that you're the only person using AI to get an edge, because everybody's getting an edge. Now, moving on, this is the Shopify side. What I wanted to do is take Shopify's inventory control system and product building system and be able to create something that my business partner out of Vegas could use. I wanted it to be simple enough for him. And so what we can do is we can load and edit a product. We can track inventory by location. We can choose what people care about, and they can search by tags. We can modify the external product price. We can also make sure that they are either visible on one page or another. We also have a POS system where we can sell some stuff like telehealth. We built this to be telehealth ready. So if a doctor wanted to use this and he wanted to sell testosterone, or he wanted to sell something else, we can actually allow them to put that on their POS system, their public-facing site that doesn't require a prescription or anything or consultation. They can sell what they want on the front, but the POS system inside their clinic will have different products than on their public site. This is another sales enablement thing. Now, what's really cool about this too is by building a POS system that works from a phone or from a tablet, now we can do the stuff that I like, which is direct selling. We can go to a fitness event. We can do a pop-up partnership with a gym. We can go to a clinic, hair salon, nail salon, whatever, and we can do pop-ups. And we can have a commission-based person in branded gear with a tablet demonstrate, explain, consult, talk about peptides. Consult would be kind of a dangerous word, I think, but you guys get the idea. And we can build a brand ambassador-driven channel in order to sell peptides person to person right from a POS system where they never have to come to the site. That is sales enablement through a vibe-coded software. What I'm trying to do here is inspire you to understand that vibe coding is a faster way to get to the end of a problem, to get to your solution. But those solutions can be thousands of things. One of the main things that I see with my students who are programmers, like old school programmers, they graduated in computer science and all this other stuff. They have all this textbook knowledge, but they don't have a problem to solve, and they don't have the context in which to understand the world enough to know that there's a problem to solve. They're hunting for something to build. They just don't have any problems. And the moment I started coding myself, 2015, in the newspaper industry, I was learning Python and JavaScript, and I learned a little bit, just enough to make a website that would help my sales guys do better at sales. I knew exactly what code could do for me. I just had no coding skill. And I would rather that have been the case. I'd rather you guys go out into the world, see what problems exist, and then go back and find a way to build it, than to learn how to build stuff and then go hunt down a problem, because you won't have any advantage unless you understand your customer. We're going to sidestep. I want to show you an example to support this. I'm going to go into my B&B Photo Factory website just so you can get this real understanding. This was a lightweight vibe code build, and I sell a ton of photos through this. Essentially, what somebody does is they upload their Airbnb link, it sends it to us, we AI enhance the photos, and we send it back to them. The V1 of this was we had a form where people uploaded their photos for their Airbnb listings, and we sent them back their stuff. The real power of this is I've got 11 years of host experience. I know what a photo needs to look like for Airbnb's algorithm. And so the prompts behind this, you can't see these prompts, but the prompts are pages long. And that's my moat. Then putting the upload your Airbnb link using Firecrawl again to scrape it made it 10 times faster. Thus, we started doing 3 times the revenue because we made it easy to use. This is an example of coding a solution to a problem, but I identified the problem first, which is that Airbnb hosts need good photos, and professional photographers are charging $150 minimum for these listings. So now somebody can just take photos from their iPhone and get beautiful AI generated final product that competes with most photographers for $30 instead of $150 or $400. One thing that I just built, and this is a cool thing that vibe coding really lets you do, and this is great for any of you online marketers. I'm building landing page alternates so that way when somebody comes to my site, I want to determine what type of landing page variant gets the most conversion. So I've built into this site, which I haven't turned it on yet. As you can tell, I just built it. Cool idea. But what we're doing is we're working on sites that you pull on different psychological levers, and that way we can find out if those different psychological levers get more cart, get more conversion. And that way we can commit to one path for our site. That's going to be a big thing. So stay tuned on that. This is an example of my landing page, by the way. Once someone's logged in, we are basically changing stacks to protocols. My mythos for this, I think this is a really cool thing that I want to help you guys understand. Let's just click on this one. My concept for Olympus Peptide Labs is we really want to take the aspirational high society thing. And so what we're trying to build, this image is a little small, so I zoomed in, which I'm going to have to fix with a prompt. Actually, let's just do that right now, okay? The protocol pages hero images are too small compared text. Evaluate and normalize the text size and enlarge the hero photos. Cool. That's a prompt. Cool. We're just changing it now. You might even see by the end of this how this changes. So the goal for this is to sell a combination of peptides in a single click called a protocol. And the cool thing about protocols is we can now we can do blogs about the protocol. We can talk about this new Hercules protocol that people are talking about that mixes a certain number of peptides that have a certain outcome. In summary, my friends, this has all been vibe coded. It controls inventory. It also API connects. That's one last thing. It has so many API connections here in system. I built a template for students, and when they add stuff, it works here. So for example, trust me, bro, a little bit. The way that we built this is so they can know whether or not they've connected all these API keys. We also give them webhook secrets that allow them to get information back from Stripe or WAP or anything else. So I've built this in a way that is for dummies to kill the learning curve. And this is another tip for you vibe coders, right? You have to build for lazy or you have to build for stupid. And so, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but let's just go with it. For the B&B Photo Factory, this upload your Airbnb listing part is building for lazy. Somebody doesn't want to have to upload photos painstakingly into a form. They just give the link and hit pay. That's building for lazy. Now, killing the learning curve is like building for dumb. That's what Lovable's done. They've built for dumb. You don't know how to have to code to build an amazing website. I've built a site that if I paid some boutique agency to build this Shopify, ClickFunnels recreation, it's probably 70 grand, right? And I never had to know how to code everything. I just needed to know how to explain things. And so the reason why we call this page Romancing Robots is because this is about getting your way out of AI. Prompting is really the key to this next era of technology. If you know how to use words, you know how to describe yourself, you know how to think critically and think in systems, you can get AI to do stuff that no one else can do. There are programmers out there who do not know how to explain themselves, so they're better at writing code than they ever will be at vibe coding. And this is one of your advantages. You just need to know a little bit about programming so you know what stuff can do, so you don't ask a genie for an impossible wish. But the better that you can describe through analogy, metaphor, all sorts of stuff which will teach you, the better you'll be at building systems like this when you code. It's wonderful times. So if you want to learn how to vibe code, you want to learn how to build businesses vibe coding, I do $1 million a month in my companies, and B&B Photo Factory is a 6-figure, fully passive business. You want to learn how to build stuff like this, just follow for more and ask me your questions in the comments. I will give you everything I can to help you guys vibe code your future. Thanks for watching this as always, my friends. Watch this video next. There's going to be some things you really need to know about vibe coding. This video is going to be a huge help. Watch that next. I'll see you on the other side.